Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Contact Lost, the third episode of our player profile series of the lead up to the WTC. By the time this is released, this will be the last day and the last chance to register for our fantasy entourage. So make sure to listen to the upcoming interviews, compile your team, and join us in a little bit of fun. Now, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Weyland-Yutani and the Army Painter, as well as our wonderful community of patrons and YouTube members, without whom none of this would be possible. The first player that we'll be interviewing in this compilation is none other than Team Poland's Lesiu. Let's hear it. Hi, Lesiu. How's it going?
Hi, it's fine. I'm getting ready for WTC. I'm a little bit tired, but other than that, it's fine.
Same old for you, right?
Yeah, same
Right.
old. I'm
But before
actually
we get in,
painting some stuff for the tournament.
already it's almost a week to the event.
Yeah, but we are driving on Tuesday, so yeah, I don't have that much time.
That's against the Polish tradition. It's not it's not the golden days anymore. Never mind that. So let's draft a player profile of sorts of you. So when and how did you start playing 40k? Is the first question.
Well, that that would be like 20 years ago, more or less. So it was first year of high school, and
Mhm.
it was around the time the Dawn of War came out, the strategy game for PC. And yeah, I saw I played it, and then actually it turned out that one of my classmates was playing Warhammer, the tabletop version,
Mhm.
and he showed me how it goes, and yeah, that's basically how it started, and I've been playing ever since.
Quite the common story, I feel like, especially in Poland. Seems like a lot of people start with Dawn of War, but why and how did you start playing competitively from there?
Oh, yeah, basically from the very beginning I started playing RTTs because we had like a local store, and there was a tournament like every month or so.
Hmm.
So and it was a lot of fun. And then like we learned about this league we had in Poland, and I attended some country-wide tournaments, and I guess I caught on, and then that's how it started.
Okay, and what were those beginnings like, especially for a high schooler? I mean, presumably it was hard to get in the army to begin with, but not really that many people to borrow from, maybe. So, was it challenging to get started in that scene?
Definitely. Well, my first army were Grey Knights, and it was like basically two or three boxes at the beginning, and then some proxies, I guess.
Hmm.
So I had like a Koteas box with some henchmen, and then like a 5-man Grey Knight unit and 5-man Terminator unit, and some proxies. Then I had some Imperial Guard. Maybe borrowed something. I don't remember that well, but for RTTs that was probably enough. It was like I don't know,
Hmm.
1,000 points or something around that. And back then, even larger tournaments were like 1,500s or like well below 2,000 points definitely. So it was not that hard to begin, but yeah, definitely like doing something like we do now. So like army hopping or playing different army every tournament. That was basically impossible without the printing, without the borrowing, and yeah, that was it. You had some models and you play them for like a year or so.
Yeah, but it sounds like you didn't have to buy like 20 AdMech combat patrols to field an army. So, I guess the
No,
scale
definitely
was
not.
different. Do you have a favorite faction? Was it Grey Knights that you've just mentioned, or is it something else?
Well, I really like Grey Knights. They are usually fun to play, but they are very rarely competitive. I also like demons, as you can see, some Belacor and Lord of Change and some other stuff. They are usually also fun because a lot of deep strike and a lot of funky rules, but again, not very competitive. So for on the competitive side, I usually play Space Marines because there is always at least one Space Marine build that is playable on the top
Hmm.
level. There's very rarely a time that you cannot play any Space Marine build. So yeah, but for fun part, probably demons.
Okay, got it. And in terms of the WTC, you're quite the veteran player in the current Team Poland roster. Which event will it be for you now?
Of sixth, seventh, something like that. So first one was in 2015, I believe, in Athens. So yeah, something like around that. Oh, actually, that was a first one in Team Poland, and before that, I was also a mercenary team in Prague. So I don't know, something like sixth or seventh time.
So what you mean, like part of a United Nations kind of thing
Yeah, that
that
was a
they call?
mercenary team back then, and since it was in Prague in Czech Republic, there were actually a lot of people from Poland going there for single tournament
Hmm.
or for the mercenary team. So we had like a team for that consisted of three guys from Poland, three guys from France, like one guy from Czech Republic, and I don't remember who was the last guy. But yeah, that was the mercenary team, and then 2 years later, I believe, I got top five in Polish league, and back then it meant that you qualified for the team, and that's how it started. And then like every second year, maybe even slightly more,
Hmm.
I was part of the team, and it's my third WTC. So before that, it was ETCs. So, but yeah, since 2021, so last year and 2 years ago, I've been part of the team.
Okay, cool. Do you have a preferred play style or like a role within the team that you like to fulfill?
Well, I'm mostly playing more defensive armies, so I love my like big bricks of like Terminators or this year I am playing Custodes, or so I have two bricks of Wardens, some tanks. So I'm usually playing something that's resilient, that not dying easily, and that can trade up in a way that I can put my unit out there and probably survive some of enemy commitment and kill something in return before I die. So yeah, usually something like that. Like last year, it was Deathwing Knights when the Land Raider. My first ETC, it was Lifestar. So basically, some bikes with some characters that had like a 3-up feel no pain and a 2-up save with that could be rolled in close combat. Well, all those 7th edition shenanigans. And so yeah, that's usually something like I prefer playing. I'm not that comfortable trading piece by piece. I just no, I just don't like picking up my miniatures and throwing them in the in the bin. So yeah, I prefer if they can survive some punishment.
If they can stay on the table
Yeah.
for the majority of the game, right? And
And the one
yeah,
important thing, they need to have a 4-up invulnerable, so I can like use my trademark item and roll 4-ups, as there is no tomorrow.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that because in the Polish community you're very famous for rolling 4-ups, and whenever an army requires rolling 4-ups, Lesiu is probably the pilot for it. And I was going to ask, what is it like from your perspective? Do you also feel like you dice your way on the invulnerable saves time to time, or maybe
Everyone
we're all
does.
exaggerating?
Everyone does from time to time, and I'm usually good at it. But probably just, I think it's more a matter of perspective. I would say, like, I'm usually
Mhm.
exaggerating when I'm like rolling 4-ups, and like Pumba is usually exaggerating when he rolls 3 ones on Magnus. That's probably something in your like in your brain how it's wired. Like yesterday I played some tests and I lost my wardens in like one, basically from one enemy unit in shooting. And well, it happens, but well, it is
Mhm.
what it is. And sometimes you just put them out there and roll 4-ups uh, for every save you get. And yeah, it's a lot of fun, and your enemy just gets a headache, and I have fun then.
For sure, as long as it happens when it matters, right?
Sure.
So during tests, whatever, but then activating those 4-ups, right? Lesiu, are there any other aspects of 40k that you enjoy beside the gaming part?
Rolling sixes, I guess. Hmm. Oh, but to be honest, probably the community, the social part. Well, the game is just a game, and you
Mhm.
out maybe outside of WTC, it's mostly I mostly play for fun and for the social part, to meet all the people. Well, not only from Poland, but mostly, but also from around the world. Like right now, we have this community that is international. Like I know all those people that I would never meet otherwise, and
Mhm.
I've been to a lot of places that I would probably never visit, because who would go to Salamanca? uh, yeah, or some remote places like that. So yeah, now we need to wait for like next event in Singapore or something like that, to even push it further. But yeah, that's probably the best part of this hobby, and that's probably what gets me going in the end, because like you can pick any game and play it for like once a month or something like that. But the
Mhm.
community in Warhammer is amazing, and yeah, that's probably what's the best part of the hobby.
Yeah, fully agreed. And it keeps you in the hobby, right, for many, many years. All right. Lesiu, thanks for coming in. We'll see you in Belgium at the event, and good luck.
Yeah, thank you. We need to defend our title, so yeah, go Team Poland.
100% we do. Fingers crossed. All right. Bye bye.
Goodbye.
Our next guest is the winner of this year's Castle GT, Jakub of Team Czechia. Hi, Jakub. How's it going?
Hi, I think pretty good. I'm already finished every painting and adding weapons on all my miniatures to WTC, and it's pretty fine.
All right. 3 days before the event itself. Plenty of time to boot. So
Yeah,
we can have a little conversation then. So when and how did you start playing for TK?
I think I started it something like 10 years ago, but competitively I started playing in 2019 on my first GT at Prague Open, and
Hmm.
later on ETC 2019.
Okay. And why did you decide to like start playing competitively? Was it a gradual process or like a one-time thing that just made you go, "All right, I'm doing this now"?
Yeah, basically yes. I played Magic the Gathering before that and was doing a lot of like PC gaming competitively, trying to
Mhm.
do that basically. And I was like, okay, that's fun, nice miniatures, and why not? And that was it, just random thing.
Okay. Right. And how many WTCs, ETCs then have you attended?
Two.
Okay. Right. So the one in 2019 and last year
Yeah, yeah.
then? Okay. So now it was going to be your third outing. And are you playing the War Master event as well?
Yes. Yes. Definitely. As last year, yeah.
Okay. Right. And is it not too much playing 40k across what, a week?
Uh,
Gaming every day?
it is, but it is just once per year to do like something like 13 games, I think so, in week.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a lot, but I need to, prep yourself to do better on teams, and I just like solos.
Okay, right. And are you playing the same list, same army at the singles?
Yes.
Okay, right. So we'll get back into what you're playing in a moment. But do you have a favorite faction in the game, in the universe?
Of course, yes, I have, but it is like fluff wise, I have more affection than play wise. I think so, because in competitive play, you're basically switching armies like every 2 months, most of the time. But at this edition, is for me is Call Space Marines,
Hmm.
and fluff wise, I mean, Blood Angels is always in my heart.
Okay, right. So generally, armies that usually play quite aggressively. So would you say that's a preferred play style of yours?
Yes, I like to play more aggressively to push the opponent to the limits and try to punish his mistakes most of the time. I think that's my playstyle.
Okay, and does that go in pair with a team role that you usually fulfill? So are you more of an attacker kind of person?
Yes, always I'm the main attacker in teams.
Right. So you've been picked quite a lot in our fantasy entourage as the seed free player. So I'm wondering where might that be coming from. So are there any notable GT performances that you might have had this season that you want to
Yeah,
maybe brag about?
uh, yeah. This year I won the Castle GT at January, I think so,
Hmm.
in Germany, and I was third at Alpineca Pleben solos.
Okay,
That's pretty fine, and that's it this year
that
for now.
that is pretty fine. Right, and any team events that you guys did?
Yeah, we was at Alpine Cup 11, of course, and that's it this year. It was not
Okay,
much team events for us,
right. I see.
and of course some scrims and things like that. Yeah, but no much GDs.
Hmm. Okay. Right, Jakub. Are there any other aspects of 40k that you enjoy apart from the gaming side?
Uh, Painting, of course. I mean, it's really fun to chill and do the painting conversions and things like that. Actually, I was doing commissions for like 2 years, but
Hmm.
now I need to still finish some of my miniatures, not just other ones, because most of my armies are just shadow.
Yeah, they're never finished on time when there's the tournaments to do. Uh, right. Jakub, thanks for coming in, and good luck in Belgium at the event.
Thank you.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Coming up next, we'll have Brian of Team USA. Hi, Brian. How's it going?
It's going great. I'm glad we finally got together. Entirely because of my fault.
Yeah, it's been in planning for a while, this one. Right, so we're going to draft a player profile of yourself of sorts, and we'll start with asking by when and how did you start playing 40k?
That is a good question. So I started playing 40k back in 3rd edition, actually, back with the terrible Dark Eldar models. Just kind of, like everybody's story. There's a local store, had them. They're cool models. Wanted to get into it, so started playing. Started collecting some works and playing with friends. Made a bunch of good friends that way. Back home.
I'm gonna say an unpopular opinion here. I'm glad they've changed those Drukhari models. They were awful.
Some
I
of
like
them were awful. Some of them are
much
pretty
better.
cool. Vector's pretty cool. I got a Ben Jerk next to me, by the way. You can wave Ben if you want.
Yeah, I can see someone crawling in the,
Yeah, there's a
in
reflection
the
of
mirror. Yeah. So that photo bomb wasn't exactly surprising.
Yeah, that's everything before WTC.
Right, and how and why did you get into competitive gaming? What happened?
So I'm sure you, when I got a little bit older, and then started kind of getting back into it a little bit later in my life. But I actually moved to the United Kingdom in 2019 for grad school, up to Edinburgh. And when I got there, I was kind of making a choice of, I really wanted to have a competitive outlet of some kind because I like, I'm a gamer. I enjoy that kind of stuff. And it was a choice between either playing something like Magic the Gathering or playing Warhammer, right? So kind of went and checked out the Magic the Gathering scene in Edinburgh, and it was kind of light and that wasn't really my vibe. So then I was like, all right, well, let's check out the Warhammer scene there, and that's where I met a bunch of good friends of mine at a club called ELG. And I started playing with them. I started doing really well, and then I looked at a local tournament that was nearby me, being run by somebody I'd never heard of before named Innes Wilson, who I went to that tournament and I did okay. I played Innes in the last round, where he proceeded to use Devout Push. I was like back in 9th, Devout Push about like 10 times over the course of the game, to just completely destroy me. But I came out of it thinking, this is awesome. This is really what I want to do, kind of play these events. And so I started getting more active, and going to more of the tournament circuit here in the UK. And in 20, I think it was 2020 or 2021. It's been too long. I got into one of the events called Leicester, the Leicester Open, and I managed to actually take it down as my first tournament win. Was like a 400 person something super major, so that was good. And then it just started going up from there. And it's got me involved with Team Scotland and started meeting tons of people and getting really into the competitive scene.
Okay, right. And which, because you broke up a little bit there, which Leicester was that? Which year?
I think it was 2020. It might have been 2021. I can't quite remember exactly how long it was, but it was in, or maybe even 22. I don't know. It was too longer than it should be ago. Okay. That been in this game for feels like forever, even if it hasn't been that long.
Fair enough. So how many WTCs will it now be for you?
So the first WTC I went to was the first actual WTC, which was 2022, right? And that I was actually a sub for Scotland. Somebody had to drop out, and this kind of managed to get me in as a merc. And then I went the year after that for Team Scotland as well. And then this year, I have become Judas, in the words of Innes, and joined my home country, Team USA.
Judas to join the home country. Something's off here, but well, it's
Hey,
not.
I agree, but I'm not the one making the narrative in Scotland anymore.
Fair enough. But can you tell us what's the process like? What does it look like? The Merc thing. Is it like difficult? Are there any rules behind it to play for another nation? And are there any implications to then go back playing for your home country?
Yeah. Well, I was living in Edinburgh at the time, so I think by the rules I was technically considered a merc, but I been there for a couple years by that point, so it was maybe like by a couple months. So in my the way it kind of worked out, well, I was already kind of involved with the Scottish team a bit because I was becoming closer friends with Innes, and because the person had to drop out and they didn't really have a backup at the time, I kind of was able to was asked to kind of slot in, and so that kind of made the process relatively informal the first year. I know that Scotland has a system that works quite well, and they have a ranking system. They have auto qualifies, and then bring people on. All those people continue to vote for the team members. But it was a rewarding experience. I mean, I always recommend anybody who wants to get involved at WTC in a playing role, look at the UN teams if they have any that year, which they usually do, assuming the numbers work out. Because it's a tremendous experience being able to learn about the WTC, because you hear about it a lot, but until you've kind of been there, it's really hard to really capture just how intoxicating it is to go to this kind of an event. So, but as far as consequence of playing for another home team, I mean, so the WTC has rules for kind of switching teams, but one of the things that Tom has made kind of abundantly clear, and I talked to him about this ahead of time, was it's really about the spirit of the rules, right? So they're not going to stop you from playing for your home country, right? Because that's what they really want everyone to be doing. And so I'm an American. I've if you can tell by my accent and loud voice, I'm nice and obnoxious. So I'm an American, I love Scotland. It's a second home in my head, but not like I love the U.S. The U.S. is always going to be my home country.
So it's rose as intended, as Tom loves. So great stuff. And is this the first year that you've tried to go for Team USA, or?
Yes, yeah, it was my first year going out for Team USA, and I really want to kind of highlight just how important the restructuring for Team USA was for me making that decision, right? Because I'm somebody who never really was in competitive 40K. Like the tournament scene before I went to lived in Scotland, so I didn't know any of the guys over there. I became kind of friends with Anthony Vanilla a bit, but he was kind of the only person I really knew that was on the team. But the restructuring of the U.S. team, where every year 3 people are guaranteed to be new on the team every single year, and you really earn that spot by playing and getting to know people. And just how open everybody, what like Sean was when I talked to him about the possibility. I mean, that really reassured me that as somebody who felt like an outsider coming into Team USA, at least in terms of the relationships and the people, that I'd have a fair shot at making the team. And I'm on it now, so I think that shows that the process has a lot of merit.
Right, but was it challenging for you in terms of the distance and the time zone difference, especially?
Yes. Yeah, my sleep schedule has been very rough lately, and it's not even. I mean, people have been very accommodating, playing earlier in the day. Some of the people on Team USA have tech jobs, which gives them some more flexibility in terms of doing that kind of stuff. But every now and then there's a weekly team meeting that happens at 1:30 in the morning my time. Stay up for it. And then, of course, as we get closer and closer to WTC, I'm staying up longer, not being asked to necessarily, but just staying up longer, talking to people about pairings and matchups and everything else. And there have definitely been some days the last couple of weeks where I've been going to bed at 4 a.m., and they're like, why are you not in bed right now? You really should be asleep. So, but it's, it's tough. You get really close to these guys and you enjoy the conversations and, just end up staying up, kind of trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah, no, 100%. But it's always interesting to hear, or maybe it doesn't. It's not obvious to people listening, or people not like playing the event, that people who are playing the event are really putting in a lot of work in terms of prep.
Oh yeah.
Most often having a regular job, which is just sort of crazy. Right, Brian, do you have a favorite faction in 40k?
Yes, it's orcs, and it's not even close. Orcs are my boys. I love them to death. They're an army which I think I'm very good with. An army which I kind of cut my teeth on. It's the army I won Leicester with. I love combat. I love pressure. And it's just I'm constantly fighting with one of my Ignite teammates, Vic. That orcs are very good, or Vic doesn't particularly like them and think they're that good. But we have lots of arguments about that. It's always fun.
All right, and do you have a preferred playstyle or a team role you like fulfilling?
So historically, especially kind of coming from Scotland, one of my roles was usually in the space of pressure armies and trying to score larger differentials. That would take the form of I would define a pressure army as just for anybody who might not be clear as an army which is trying to keep your opponent's primary score down while you score points, and maybe you kill the opponent and the score stays all the way down, or ideally though you keep their score down to the point where by the time they've dealt with your stuff they're not scoring a very good score at the end, and you get a good differential win out of that result. So that kind of style, it's always been something I've really liked, and orcs are built for that kind of a game, so it kind of lends itself to the kind of that combo.
All right, good. And are there any other aspects of 40k that you enjoy?
I mean, it's the social, right? It's got to be the social. I met some of the best friends I've had in my life playing this game. Between everyone I've met on Team USA this year, we have a group that we call Killers Without Borders, which is our Alpine Cup team, which is myself, Anthony, Innes, Wilson, Pumbaa, and Typhus, and I'm going to Typhus's wedding after WTC. I mean, it's gonna be a blast. These are people and experiences which I would never have if it wasn't for the game and the social side here. And then of course I've met all my Ignite teammates playing this game too. It's just, and as somebody who moved to a different continent for school, this Warhammer gave me just a perfect slot in to meet people and kind of have friends and have a support system and a totally new culture to my own in a way that I think very few things are translatable like that.
All right, thanks Brian for coming on, and good luck at the event. We'll see you there.
Thanks, I really appreciate it.
All right, bye. Next up, one of the most veteran players in the Poland roster, Vladdi. Hey Vladdi, how's it going?
Well, quite okay, I guess.
Okay.
I'm preparing for WTC first time in 4 years, so it's kind of fun.
And you finally made it into the team, so this is part of the reason why you're here. So let's draft a little player profile of yourself. So when and how did you start playing 40k?
40k, I don't know what year it is. Like 12, I don't know. Like it seems like 100 years ago. This was a long time ago. I was at the university. I was playing for the Warhammer Fantasy Battles mostly, but I didn't have anyone to go with me to tournaments because I was the only one from Torun when I was studying. The only one that was attending tournaments, at least for Fantasy Battles tournaments. And so I found someone else who wanted to travel to tournaments, but he was playing 40k, Jan Karnowski Yahoo. And so to have someone to travel with, I started playing 40k as well. And I very quickly jumped into it. I quite quickly switched from playing for Fantasy Battles to 40k, as 40k seemed to be far more user friendly for me. Less stressful, and it's more fun to play because in 40k I thought that the general macro game is more important than measuring everything to an inch, to a millimeter. While in Fantasy Battles, everything was about careful measurement, putting your units in the proper angle, every meter counted. So I felt that was a bit too, too precise for me. I wanted to play games that was decided more on the macro level than in precise measurement. And I switched to 40K. I found some very, very nice people there that I keep in touch till today. They're actually some of them are still playing. Some of them are actually coming back to playing tournaments now. So after they had kids, after they grew older, and now they're coming back. So basically, it was a long time ago, and now I'm still doing it. It's a hobby, I guess.
Okay, you've been doing it so long that people have been coming back from the dead. You've mentioned the switch for you was easy, right? But were the two games similar back in the day, or
no,
were there many
completely
differences?
Actually, okay. What I meant was that they were completely different. The 40K was fast. It was more entertaining, more interactive. It was in 40K. I thought the game was decided. The result of the game was decided on the macro play, on the decisions that you made, and on the whole battlefield. While in Fantasy Battles, the game was decided on the small measuring things, like you put your unit in the incorrect angle, and the opponent unit could come get to it and swing, change the angle and get into the side of your infantry block, and that small mistake would destroy the whole game plan. And 40K, it was more free-flowing. The plan that you had at the start of the game for the whole battlefield was more important than small things that you did on the battlefield during the game, and that felt more to my liking. So the games were completely different.
Okay, got it. So I want to ask why and how did you go into competitive gaming, but you've mentioned traveling to tournaments, so I guess you were already into competitive play when you started 40K, right?
That is true. At some point, there were tournaments in Poland that were done in two parts. The first part was for Fantasy Battle players, and the second part was for 40K players, and they did overlap each other. So it was easy to do both things for a time. And but I started playing 40 Warhammer Fantasy Battles competitively. I played as a casual gamer in my hometown for a bit. Then I went to university, and during the studies, I went to a tournament in some bunker that was done in Torun, in the city that I was studying in. And then there were to that tournament the group of people from Warsaw. They came the group of people from Warsaw, the competitive players from the competitive club. It was called Inquisitor, and there were some big names known in Polish community, especially from Fantasy Battles, the 9H community, like Dark Polit, like Shaba, Holland. They were totally orientated on the competitive aspect of the hobby. And I played one tournament. I played against them on that tournament, and I liked it. We talked a bit about going to tournaments, about how it is to play competitively, and I got swallowed very quickly into that. I started going to tournaments all over the country, and well, it's not a fairy tale. For Hammer Fantasy Battles, I used to be a bit of controversial player, but it's nothing. I'm a bit controversial playing 40K, but it's nothing compared to what it was in Fantasy Battles. the community was not only super competitive, but they were utterly none of these rules of engagement that we have now in 40k, play by int and things like that. Fair play. There's a huge pressure on playing fair play to be, all the rules, all the guidelines, how you should play the game to make it fun for your opponent in competitive setting. And there were none of that, completely none of that then. And there was crazy things going on those Fantasy Battles tournaments. There were the atmosphere, general atmosphere on 40k tournaments at the time were far better, even though we didn't have those guidelines, those fair play rules then as well in 40k. But the general feel was completely different. It's like seriously, the playing for Warhammer Fantasy Battles there was on tournaments. It was only for people with nerves of steel. So basically, after that very dark times, I switched to 40k, and well, it was like a breath of fresh air a bit in terms of both in terms of mechanics. The game was different, but also in terms of community, people were nicer, everything was better. So I stayed.
Yeah, we've come a long way, which is good.
Yeah.
Right, Vladdi, this is your first WTC in the new post-COVID era, but how many ETCs have you attended before that?
Well, I was there from the start. I was actually on the first one. That was only Fantasy Battles. There were no 40k on the first one. I went there.
Okay.
I think I played in 40k singles, but I remember mostly wandering around and talking to people. And I was on the first one. That was first ETC. That was the 40k ETC. I was actually the captain of the team at the time. We came second. I think we came second. Next, first was Germany, I think. And well, that's how it started, I guess. I missed how many? I missed 3, including WTCs. I think I missed 3 or 4. I'm not sure. I'm quite sure I missed 1 ETC, and I didn't. As you mentioned, this is my first WTC. So I was actually going to the first WTC, but some work issues stopped me from doing that. I was on the team, but unfortunately I had some court meeting just before the tournament, and I couldn't go to WTC.
Well, now at the time of recording, we're 3 days out from traveling, so hopefully that doesn't happen again.
I have my tickets bought for, so everything is planned. I'm very much intending going.
Nothing stopping you now. All right, good stuff.
There are actually people that one of their obligations during the tournament is to make sure that I get on the plane. There are gonna be 2 people making sure that I'm getting on the plane. So, yeah.
Oh, you have your own dedicated coaches.
Something like that, yeah.
What a man. Right, Vladdi, do you have a favorite faction in the 40k universe?
Yeah, I guess. Well, I kind of play like 10 of them, so it's difficult to pick, but definitely for my first faction that I ever played and I liked most are Tyranids, mostly because I played them from the very beginning. Then I had my first models in 40k. There were Tyrannid models. I played Tyrannids for a long time before I switched to anything else. I think I switched to Necron. I didn't actually switch. I just bought Necrons as my second army, and then it went from there. Actually have 10 different armies, though in current meta, like I guess 3 are viable for competitive tournament, because how the meta changes, how Games Workshop changes the game. But I have a collection of like 10 armies now. But Tyrannids are definitely the favorite.
Okay. And do you have a preferred play style or a team role you like to fulfill?
Well, I'm sure team role is the. I'm definitely not a defender. I never was, but up to now, because this is my first ETC WTC in 4 years. A lot of things changed. There are different people, running the show. I'm just, old man who comes from retirement for this event, and
Old man tagging along.
so I'm not sure if I'm the right man to talk about my team role. It's more to my captains and coaches. But historically, I was always the last man to pick an army. When all the other players picked their armies, I was the last to do that to finalize the setup, finalize the team comp, to pick those 8 army that would be viable in the meta, while all other stronger armies already picked by the other people. And I was never a defender because I like to play a bit aggressive armies. It's not always the case, especially on WTC, because you play what is necessary for the team. But there was actually for a time a Vladdi build. When you saw an army, you could see that this is kind of what I would play, because it's definitely a type of MCU with multiple useful units that you can use in different roles, but mostly they all have some kind of force multiplier. So you can use small unit, use some force multiplier on it, then can bring back some points that they wouldn't be able to do otherwise without that force multiplier. That's kind of how I used to like to play, but now it's dependent on the meta, on the tournament, on, as you said, on the role that I'm to feel in the given team. We mostly play team like tournaments now. So I try to adapt to the team tournaments meta. So and that this standard army that I like to play with multiple useful units, MSU with some force multipliers all around, is not always valid, or at least it's not always I can choose that army because someone else already chosen it, like I don't know, Chaos Space Marine or Eldars or something like that. So I like to play aggressive armies, but nowadays I play the army that my team needs me to play.
Okay, got it. Vladdi, you're one of the best singles players in Poland. Have you managed to get any GT wins this tournament season?
I don't know. Did I? No. As I said, I'm not even. I'm not even sure. I have to. I would have to check. As I said, for a long time now, we mostly concentrated on team play, on team tournaments. I'm not even sure that I attended any singles this year. I can check if you want, but not sure. I have won some team tournaments with my teams, with the teams that I attended. Quite sure I won. We won golden tickets in Bratislava on the tournament, but I'm not sure if I even attended the singles GT this year. We'll have to check.
Okay. Are you planning to use the golden ticket?
Wait, because I know this is weird for, I don't know who listens, but it may be weird for some communities, because I know that in the US, in England, there are big singles tournaments, huge singles tournaments, and people who win it. There are a lot of commotion about those tournaments. There are a lot of hype around those tournaments. And the people who win it are mostly, let's say, stars of the community. And but I think it's I think you can agree with me that it's different in Poland. We have
Definitely.
more team orientated community. When it's tournament orientated community, we play most teams. Our best players have some of our best players have negative opinion of this game when played in singles. So basically, we concentrate on team tournaments, and as I said, some of our best players don't play that much singles.
Yeah, that's true. We have more and more teams events rather than singles, and when we have singles, they're not always attended by like all of
The
Team
best-
Poland, for example. It very
Exactly.
rarely happens, if ever.
Yeah.
Right, then last question that I've got for you, Vladdi. Are there any other aspects of 40K that you enjoy?
That's a deep question, mate. It's a deep question because I used to enjoy winning. But enjoying when you mostly enjoy winning, it's a trap.
Hmm.
Sooner or later, you get trapped by the need to win, and you either do stupid things or you stop enjoying the game because the stress levels concerning losing are mounting up, and at some point it will break you. You will stop playing because you will not be able to face the fact that you can lose, and this feeling that people would talk about you losing is too annoying to stand. So
Mhm.
you stop playing, you distance yourself from the game, or you do some stupid things at the table that you shouldn't be doing. So at some point, I stopped liking winning. I still like winning. Come on, let's be honest. I still like winning, but I started concentrating on different things. It's like because it's at some point I'm also quite old for the community standards. So meeting people that I know for like 15 years playing the game,
Mhm.
talking to them, getting out of this bubble of work, family, everyday's life starts to be more and more enjoyable. Just spending time with friends, playing competitive 40K, but concentrating on the aspect of just chilling out is far more interesting now for me than playing to win in general. So nowadays I enjoy mostly meeting with people I like. We've been talking, drinking with people that I like and like to spend time with.
Okay, got it. Good stuff. Right, Vladdi, thank you very much
problem.
for joining, for having the conversation, and I'll see you in Mechelen real soon.
Yeah, thank you. We'll
Thanks. Bye-bye.
see you soon then. Cheers, mate.
Our final guest for today will be Jonathan of Team Norway. Hey, Jonathan, how's it going?
Man, I'm living the freaking dream, and it's awesome to be here. Thanks for having me. What's going on, my man? How are you?
I'm fine, and I will be asking you a couple of questions to create a player profile of sorts of
You're
yourself.
gonna ask me
so
questions?
I hope you're. Yeah, I'm gonna
Me?
ask you questions. That's how this show work. I
Nice.
ask people questions. So
Respect.
yeah, right. So when did you start playing 40K, and how did it happen?
I played Kid Hammer with my brother when we were like young little lads, from like 8 to
Mhm.
12 or so. But that was just Kid Hammer. Yeah. I had my Orc and Goblins army, and then I played with like some, maybe what was it, 4th edition Nids or something. I don't even remember. But then I didn't play again until 2 years ago. I started actually, so I was training for CrossFit, and like I qualified for sanctionals here in Norway, and I injured my leg. And after I injured my leg, then I had to take a year off training, and I just my brother had been playing, and I had just randomly randomly found this place called 2D6, which is a club that we have here in Oslo, Norway, which, as far as we know, is actually the biggest private club in the world. So we've got like 3 floors, over 200 square meters of full gaming tables. I think we've got a permanently set up what is it now? I don't want to say it wrong. 14, 28, 30. No, it's like 40 tables, 40 permanent tables with full terrain for all of them. And it's 24/7 access. And it was actually just pretty awesome. We have an entire painting room there. You've got storage for all your bottles there. There's a fridge full of beer that you just buy with a QR code. So it's kind of an awesome place. So I found it, started playing around there, and met up with my buddy Sondra, who I don't know how I met him. I think I just walked up to him. I said, "Hey man, you're my friend now." And not many people do that in Norway. And he was like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure he flipped me off, but he also said okay, so it was good. And he was a really good player. So
not many people do that anywhere in the world, I think.
Well,
But you do you. There should be more of you.
Hey, bro.
Or
I've
people
never
doing that.
met a stranger, so to say. But yeah, so I met him. He was a member of the WTC team that year, and he basically introduced me to competitive play. And then I was like, oh, that's fun, because I've always had a pretty good strategic brain. Just even back when I was in the army and I was running missions. So like I've always had a very, very strategic brain. And so Warhammer just kind of came naturally. And Sondra was beating me. I was like, why are you beating me? So, he taught me the competitive ropes, decided I wanted to join the WTC team, fell in love with it. And here we are. Played for them the following year. Then I'm returning to play for Norway this year. And excited.
So that kind of answers my question, why and how did you go competitive? So it was just, you just kind of fell into this community when returning to playing.
I gotta be honest with you. I don't think I've ever done I don't think I've done anything in my life that's not competitive.
Okay.
It's just how I am. I've played RPGs non-competitively, to be fair. I've done that.
Can you play that? Yeah, can you play that competitively at all?
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. Okay, fair enough. So this will be your second WTC, you're saying?
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. Pumped up for it. You and I will soon be reunited. Last year, we got to gaze into each other's eyes over breakfast. We'll do the same this year.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm counting down the days. Right. Anyway, do you have a favorite faction in 40K then?
Yeah, man. I'm all about smashing people's faces in. It's basically the brand that I play. So, my first army I ever played when I first returned to the hobby was Gene Stealer Cults, and I loved them. I actually adored them, but I sucked with them, man. I could not figure out how to make them work. And my second list was Custodes, and I ran into Custodes after their second round of nerfs. So right before Knockman started. So Bikes had already lost OC and stuff, and that's when I started Custodes. And I was like Shadow Keepers full on, and I freaking love them. And then right before we went into Arcs of Omen, I picked up the Orcs, and I just fell in love with the Orcs. And I played the Orcs until 10th, where I had to go back to Custodes because Custodes were roasted at the beginning of 10th edition. Then I went back to Orcs, and then most recently I was coaching a guy. So one of my coaching clients was a big Blood Angels fan, and this was before Blood Angels got the +2 strength. So before everyone knew they were good, and he was trying to figure out how to run Blood Angels. So I made him a list, and I was like, man, there's just missing something. And then the second, that balanced data slate came down and it said, hey guys, so Blood Angels get +2 strength. I went boom, and I jumped into Blood Angels, and I'm having an absolute blast with my flying vampiric orcs, because that's what they are.
Okay, right.
Absolutely.
So are you playing them at the WTC?
Yeah, I'm running them both in War Master and in WTC. A little bit of a different list than some of the other Blood Angels out there. It was really funny. I was listening to some of the podcasts of people reviewing lists, and I heard people talking about my list, and they were like, this guy, first off, he's a Chad because he brought a Death Company Dreadnought, and that's awesome. Second off, it's a bad list. I was like, oh, all right, cool. Well, I'm glad you enjoy it. We'll see if you're right or not. It was really funny. I enjoyed it a lot.
So what else have you got in the list that makes it a bad list?
So I'm running a 10-man JPI. I'm running 2 5-mans of JPI, jump pack assault intercessors for other people, and I know you knew that. I got the Lamarte's brick for the Death Company. I don't think I'm revealing any secrets telling people Lamartez is going to lead that brick of Death Company Marines.
Probably not.
Probably not. One Ball Predator, Calidus, Death Company Dreadnought, and 2 Scouts. Oh, and Dante, and 2 Saint Priest. So kind of all over the place. It moves fast. It hits hard. It's a very subtle list, basically. It's extremely subtle.
There aren't that many surprises, no? I don't know. But it's good. It's a signature thingy, I guess, for the event. Right. Well, I guess you've already answered my next question again, getting ahead of yourself. A preferred playstyle, team role that you like to fulfill, smashing faces.
Yeah, So the way I play Warhammer, right, and this is the way I teach. So whenever I'm coaching and stuff, this it's just the way I teach too. Is I understand that I'm going to lose models when I play Warhammer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to lose models, and I also understand that sometimes I'm in really bad situations, and I just can't win a match. So it doesn't bother me to just say, "Cool, let's go." like if I see that I'm in a scenario where it's like, okay, this is a no-win scenario. It doesn't bother me to not play cagey and have like 2 units left at the end of the game. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to lose anyway. So why don't I just go for it? So I like armies that give me the ability to do that. So armies such as the way Custodians were, the way that Orcs kind of are, but Orcs definitely were, the way that Blood Angels are, it always gives you an opportunity to, even if you're playing into a matchup that's not like a great matchup, you always have a puncher's chance. Like no matter what, you always have a puncher's chance, because this could be Thousand Suns, and I gotta be honest with you, it's pretty funny, but everyone knows that Thousand Suns like matchup pair up really well into Blood Angels, but I have a shockingly high win rate against Thousand Suns because people don't expect you to like look for those knockout punches, and so that's what I do, and that's what I like. It's fun. So my captain always looks at me. He gets me preps at the beginning of every game. He goes, "Jonathan, no knockout punch," or he goes, "Jonathan, full send." I'm like, cool, and I'm happy either way.
Finally.
Yeah. Unleash the beast.
Right. Did you have any notable tournament wins or anything like that in this season?
Bro,
you want to brag about anything?
Second in every tournament I go to. I don't win tournaments. It's really damn frustrating. I get second, I get third, and I get them in every single tournament I freaking go to. It is awful. I recently went to GothCon, and that was awesome. So GothCon was in Sweden, and you had like pretty much all of Team Sweden there, a big bunch of Team Norway. And I don't know if everyone who's watching this knows, but man, the level of play in Sweden is just freaking amazing. Like just your average players there, you know how to play Warhammer. So that was a really cool tournament. I went third there, so I went undefeated until the final round. I lost to Axel, or Andreas Holm. Sorry, not Axel. I lost to Andreas Holm in the finals there. So he took first, I took third, and the second player was Olaf. Can't remember his last name, but he ended up having a draw, so he ended up slotting in second where I had a loss. So I got third there. That was pretty notable. I was on track to win a GT here in Oslo, and then I kind of messed up a little bit. So I played my first 2 rounds with basically what I did is I learned the secret to winning every game with Blood Angels. And here's the secret, Joker. Are you ready for it? I'm going to reveal it onto everyone, so everyone's going to know my secrets here. You'll never lose a game if you play with an extra Vindicator tank on the table. It just helps. So after the second round, like I crushed my first 2 opponents. I'm setting up for my third round. I'm like, oh, this is easy. I'm looking at all the people who are undefeated. I'm like, I match up perfectly into all of them. And I'm deploying, and I'm like, wait a second. I don't have a Vindicator in my army. Son of a bitch. So like I went to the TO. I was like, bro, I 100% used it. It was in my travel bag, and I 100% used him in my first 2 matches. So we zeroed my scores out on those, and I went ahead and I dropped into the lowest ranks. And for my last rounds, I just went and coached people. I just said, hey, this will be fun. I'll just coach people how to play better for the rest of the rounds. So that one was mine. We had a ticket. We had a golden ticket up for grabs on that one. And I was like, this is mine. It's like, no,
should have kept going.
Oh, dude, it felt so bad. I felt horrible about it. But I
I
mean,
can only imagine.
I went into my Discord and I taught about it. I was like, this sometimes it happens. This is the way you handle it. If you do something like that, because everyone's gonna make a mistake. You just, as soon as you see it, you go to TO, you say it is, you say what's up, you zero your scores, you go apologize to your opponents, you make it right immediately as quickly as you can. It's the only thing you can do. So I mean, I still feel kind of bad about it, but there's no reason to, right?
Yeah, 100%. Right. So
So I guess I gotta win War Master then.
Yeah, exactly.
Nope.
That's the solution to get that golden
Easy.
ticket. You've mentioned a number of times now about a coaching service. So how does that work for you in what I think is not too large a community in Norway?
Oh no, I coach internationally, right? So I run my own Discord, Happy Crumpin Wargaming. Bunch of it is free, but we've got either YouTube memberships or coffee memberships. It's like $7 a month. You get access to the whole Discord where we're always doing tactics and all the shebang. So we run through tactics for basically every army in the game. We organize closed circuit TTS tournaments. Like we just finished with our closed circuit teams tournament, which is really cool. So what we did is we had 10 teams, 5-mans, and we had a captain. Each captain was a very experienced player. And then they also got a number 2 who was also a very experienced player. And then we assigned a brand new player to each team. And then we assigned 2 of like they're learning how to play players. So basically none of the teams were stacked. And it was really awesome experience to see how much people could develop. So we run that Discord and I run a coaching service along with it. So people can book those calls either off of my Ko-Fi. You could find it on my YouTube channel. That's how it works.
Okay. Last question. Are there any other aspects of 40K that you enjoy?
Yeah, man. It's actually one of the amazing things about. So my favorite thing about 40K, first off, is problem solving. So what I really, really love about this game is that there's no such thing as a non-answer. Like even when we had something as busted and as broken as Eldar at the beginning of 10th edition, which I hated, I despised, GSC was the answer. There's always an answer for any problem. So that's what 40K gives us. It gives us the ability to just, how do we answer these problems? So you get a question, right? This is the way I envision 40K. It's a process of you and your opponent asking each other questions and seeing if you have the right answer. So I'm going to put my big death blob of 20 Primaris Crusaders, and they all have fights first because the Judicor is leading them, and they have lethal hits, and they're going to reroll hit rolls against you because of whatever. How do you deal with this? Can you deal with this? And if you know the answer, if you know how, oh yeah, I know how to deal with that. And the answer is I'm just going to tag you with a freaking truck, and you're not going to be able to kill my truck. And then I'm going to pile in and kill you with something else. That's how I'm gonna answer your question. So 40K is all about problem solving, and that's what I freaking love. Okay. I just think it's awesome. I hate the hobby part. Like if you've ever seen like my painting or my hobbying, dude, it's awful. It's a nightmare. It's so bad. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna give everyone a pro tip on how to get your models painted. Just do a awful, terrible job, and like have the people around you just disgusted to look at your models until they just grab them and paint them themselves. That's the way to get your army done. It's amazing.
Okay, I'm almost there. I need to work on my terribleness. That's a good tip. Thank you.
Bro, I'm here for him.
All right. With that, we're going to wrap up. Thanks, Jonathan, for coming in, and we'll see you in Belgium.
Cheers, buddy. Looking forward to it.
Bye-bye. And that's it for today. Once again, thank you to all of our guests. Once again, thank you to our sponsors, Weyland-Yutani and the Army Painter. And if you like what we do, please make sure to like, subscribe, and consider becoming a Patreon or a YouTube member. Thanks to those who already have considered these options and signed up for them. Make sure you join us in our coverage of the WTC starting next week, as of time of the recording, so starting on August 8th, on Thursday. The placeholders will shortly be up or already are up by the time this is released, so make sure you jot them down and join us for the coverage of the event. Thank you very much, and good night.